the new year just around the corner, we're sure to witness some amazing fireworks to ring in 2021. But what if your dog is afraid of fireworks? What can you do? Let's bark about it. Welcome back to Alpha Paw, your destination for everything dog. I'm Bernie Zilio, and I'm on a mission to answer every doggone question you have ever had about your fur babies. And today, we are talking about how we can alleviate any stress and anxiety for our pups around fireworks. Fortunately, we have with us today an expert, Dr. Ross Bernstein. Dr. Ross is a seasoned veterinary professional and pet care expert. He earned his doctorate degree in veterinary medicine at UC Davis School of Veterinary Medicine, and his work has been featured in several industry-leading publications, including the Journal of Veterinary Surgery. He is our go-to vet for everything we want and need to know about our fur babies. So welcome back to Alpha Paw, Dr. Ross.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Now, I know the new year is just around the corner. Praise be, because I think we all need it at this point. But unfortunately, it does come with fireworks, which most dogs don't love. In fact, a 2013 study at the University of Bristol's School of Veterinary Sciences found that fireworks were actually the most common trigger for fearful behaviors in dogs. So I guess my question for you, Dr. Ross, is we all kind of know that dogs don't love fireworks, but why do they trigger such fearful behaviors in our dogs?
It can come from many reasons, and probably the biggest one is a noise sensitivity. So fireworks can be really loud, and dogs don't really know where this sound and scary big noise is coming from. It can be fireworks, gunshots, sudden clapping of the hands, really anything. This study found that fireworks were the most common one, but some dogs, I think there are some theories that some can be genetically predisposed to being a bit more fearful, but sometimes can be how they were raised. If they are more predisposed to getting fearful, things in their environment, some training. But in general, I would say a lot of dogs, if they've never seen fireworks before, or it's something that doesn't happen that often in their life, and all of a sudden there's these really loud noises and they don't know what it's coming from. I'm sure you can imagine if you heard some loud noises next to you, it might be a bit scary for you as well.
So yeah, and I know that dogs tend to have more sensitive hearing than we do. So I can only just imagine that it's exponentially louder for them than it is for us. And also, you're totally right. Fireworks are a very once a year type of thing. And for us humans, if it's expected, it's still scary. So for a poor dog, they don't know that it's coming. So I totally understand why it would freak them out. Now, what kinds of behaviors do our dogs exhibit if they are freaked out from the noises or the light show that fireworks can kind of put them through?
Yeah, if they're scared, they can run and hide. They can start shaking and trembling, panting, restlessness, sometimes even drooling, putting their tail between their legs, lots of different types of fearful behaviors that they can do. And getting back to that, they can hear more frequencies of different sounds than people. So that's another thing. Maybe you can't hear all the sounds that go into fireworks, and they can hear one that they haven't heard before. So maybe that's something.
That's such a crazy idea that we always know, like we can hear fireworks and we kind of anticipate what it's going to sound like, and dogs could be hearing something totally different. So craziness. But these poor babies, I know that we want to enjoy our fireworks, but it can be a bit of a pain for our dogs. So how can we sort of like alleviate these anxieties that they experience around fireworks?
Number one, we all know that New Year's is coming up, or this really could apply to any other holiday like July 4th or a time when there's fireworks, but try to prevent your dog from being in that situation where they're going to be in a place that's new for them and have these fireworks going on. If they're at home, if they're indoors and away from these loud noises, another thing you can do is turn on background noise, such as music, the TV, that can muffle out some of the sounds. Sometimes just giving them extra tender loving care and support can help them. There are some pheromones sometimes that can release an easing or calming scent that they can breathe in and result in some calming behavior. There are thunder shirts, which I'm sure we'll get into later. And then probably as a last resort, I would say you could talk to your veterinarian about some sedation or anti-anxiety medications that could also just take the edge off.
Oh, poor things. It just occurred to me that I think we should say this. Obviously, keeping your dog away from the noise is like number one. But also, if your dog, for whatever reason, is not fearful of fireworks, I don't think it's smart for them to be anywhere in the vicinity that these fireworks are being set off, correct?
Yeah, definitely true. And I've seen some crazy videos where, obviously the firework is supposed to go straight up in the air, but this goes for anyone really, but the firework can shoot at a bad angle. But sometimes they're sparkly, and if they haven't completely, I don't know what the right word, exploded yet, sometimes I have seen dogs go and run and pick them up in their mouths.
Oh my God, no.
And
No, we cannot have that. So I've heard, and I feel like every time I say I've heard, you like inform me why that's wrong. So let's try this again. So I've heard that when a dog is fearful of something, you kind of just like force them to face their fear. You don't react to their anxiety. You don't really react to the stimulus. You sort of just like let things be. Is a dog's potential fear of fireworks, is that one of those situations?
Sorry, I don't mean to, when you say that I correct you every time. I don't. No, that's really good that you're bringing up these points. But
no, I don't care. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's why you're here.
if you can tell that they've had a change in behavior and they're acting scared and fearful or anxious, definitely this is one of those situations where you would want to comfort them and give them lots of support and attention and let them know that it's going to be okay.
Okay. So I think a situation where I'm trying to like compare. So fireworks would obviously be a situation where you want to comfort your dog. But my dog, for example, is scared of like bicycles. So would that be a situation where I think more exposure would help him?
Yeah, that's a type of that's more of a like desensitization type of question, where you can, if you're trying to get them not scared of bicycles, you can't just suddenly expose them to the fastest, loudest, most obnoxious person riding by on the bike. Start with something a bit more gentle. And so I'm trying to think of a good example of a bike rider, but a bike that's not whizzing by and coming right at them and someone yelling, playing music, but someone just walking slowly by, let them smell the bike, let them realize it's not a monster or scary person driving by. I think fireworks, this is just my personal opinion, might be a bit harder to train in a dog than someone on a bicycle. Bicycles might be a bit more common in a dog's daily routine. And I guess you could desensitize them to louder noises. But that might be more of the dog's own just demeanor in general. And you can slowly bring on louder noises and comfort them when they are responding well. And then on the day of the actual fireworks show or on New Year's Day, when there are a bunch of loud noises, then it might not be that unusual for them.
Yeah. But I think you're right. It is such an unusual spectacular for humans and for dogs as well that it's almost, there's no point. But I know you mentioned pressure shirts or like vests or comfort wraps or whatever they're called at some point during this video. And I want to talk a little bit about that because I've gotten so many ads for them and I'm sure I'm going to get more after this video. So do those help our dogs? Do they kind of provide the same comfort that like a human hug would provide?
Yeah, it's a very similar concept. I don't think it works for all dogs, but it definitely works for some dogs. And some dog owners will say that with their comfort shirt or thunder shirt, it works very well. So it's actually a really interesting idea. It comes from, there's a big animal activist or behavioral proponent for the good treatment of animals. Her name is Temple Grandin. She's actually on the spectrum of autism, and she's done a lot of studies on animal behavior and the well treatment of animals. It started out with some findings in cattle where you need to do work on them, give them vaccinations, ear tagging, and you corral them through a chute where they're very close together and they're almost hugged and in a tightly enclosed space. And that same concept that had seemed to have a calming effect on the cattle. And that same aspect can be applied to children, where giving them hugs, and even dogs, where you put a sweater type piece on them that hugs them and encloses them, and it seems to really have a calming effect on them.
Wow, that's fascinating. I might invest in that because if my dog is scared of bikes, he's 100% going to be scared of fireworks. But Dr. Ross, this has been super helpful. Is there anything else we need to kind of be aware of in terms of the new year or any type of fireworks shows in general?
Yeah, so with the fireworks coming up, it's good to take your dog on a walk or get their exercise out before the fireworks shows start. When the fireworks are starting, if you know your dog's gonna get scared, or if they are getting scared, put them inside in a place that's as sheltered from the sound as possible. If you know that if your dog is one that does a much better on the anti-anxiety medications, one that I really like to use on my patients is called trazodone. It kind of just takes the edge off, so you could talk to your vet about that beforehand. Hope this doesn't happen, but if dogs get scared, sometimes they run around and go crazy, and you want to make sure your doors are closed and that they do have their proper collars and ID tags on them in case that they did run away. And then finally, if you're feeling up for it, you can try some training and desensitization, counter conditioning training beforehand, kind of like we talked earlier with gearing them up to the big day with all the loud noises.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate all of this insight. My head is just exploding with ideas for how to keep my dog not so anxious on the big day, but quietly exploding so that he doesn't freak out. Do you guys have more questions for Dr. Ross? Drop them down in the comment section below. Again, I'm Bernie Zilio, and this is Alpha Paw. Be sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single doggone episode. We'll see you next time, and Happy New Year!